Hello and welcome to this video. Now, as the title and everything probably suggest, we're going to talk about FextraLife. Now, they are a build guide media outlet which was given access to Path of Exile 2 to give a journalistic review. They decided to do a walkthrough, act 1, 2, 3, give tips, guides, release a video, and then got in trouble for it because it was part of the NDA or non-disclosure agreement not to do that, and GGG took the blame for it by themselves. They are saying it's their fault, that there was some technicality, wording, contractual loopholes, or whatever the case may be. They're saying it's their fault, not FextraLife. Now, this company has very little, there are still people defending it, so I won't say none, very little believability, just general good sense in the community. Most of the community will not trust them, regardless of whether what they say is true. Like if the sky is blue, they'll probably go outside and check just because they said it. So they aren't trusted at all, but GGG is saying they are at fault, not the company. Now, why is this such a big deal that they released a guide early? One being they weren't allowed to, but that doesn't affect a normal player. It helps a normal player. It doesn't even affect content creators or streamers in a general sense, except for the fact that anyone under the NDA obviously is holding back their content until the embargo date of December 6th or 7th, depending on where you live in the world. So it pretty much doesn't affect anyone except for a small portions. Why is it such a big deal? Well, that would be because they were given an account which they can now data mine and then build guides. This is a problem to certain people because other sites rely, their content creators that are partnered with these rely on early data mining information to build guides. So in a week, the weeks leading up to it, they'll get access to data mine stuff, and then all these different games. Path of Exile 2 has said no, you aren't allowed to data mine our stuff early. That's why they're upset, because the ability to data mine stuff would allow them to build tools and then on release a week's worth of guides on builds and everything that no one else would be able to build as quick because they don't have the information before everyone else. So a lot of the actual upsetness that people have is the fact that the people who are partnered with Maxroll, Icy Veins, Mobalytics, all that, they're upset because they don't get to data mine the information. These guys do. And what are they going to do? They've already broke NDA. They're going to data mine. They're going to get all the information that they can get out of that data mine and be the first on the market with all the guides and all the tips, tricks, different pathing options, or whatever they can get out of it, mechanics, background information, stats. It is huge. If you ever wondered why certain streamers and everything that are connected to build sites have all these builds that don't get stopped by anything, it's because they know more than you. A lot of them, it's got a lot to do with skill, but a huge portion of it is they know the builds that will work because they've already got the information and they've already spent a week building on stuff that you don't even have access to. Sometimes it's like 24 hours, sometimes 48, but they get the information before you. They're building guides before the game's even released, and then releasing them once the game is released and once they get some actual footage that they're allowed to actually show. Most of the footage that you'll see will probably be the NDA stuff that they weren't allowed to show, whilst talking about different guides. So they'll reuse some of that material just because they're not allowed to show it at the moment. So it's pretty much just junk material up until they're allowed to show it. It's one of those things where you got this recording and stuff, you can't show it, so it's virtually useless to you until you're allowed to show it. And then show it in a certain light that you're allowed to show. And yeah. So a lot of the content creators are just sitting on files of videos, files of content that they can't do nothing with because of contracts. Because they obviously followed the NDA and didn't try to find loopholes like FextraLife. But clearly they did nothing wrong because GGG has taken all the blame. And the main problem that pretty much anyone is having is the fact that they get to data mine before anyone else. That is pretty much the only reason why anyone is upset, except for the fact that GGG gave it to them. But they're a media outlet, whatever, that does gaming, and they probably just got a list of like 20 different outlets. Most of them you haven't even heard of or you don't even go look at. So there is probably that aspect as well. They just picked like 20, 30 names and asked for a journalistic review. They decided to go the other way and do a whole guide, which I assume come 6th, 7th, depending on where you live, there'll be a Act 1 to 3 guide with tips and tricks. Depending on what GGG changes at the last minute, they'll release, and they'll be one of the first to release it, depending on what content the other creators have recorded over their time being able to play. So, what's your opinion on it? Did GGG do the right thing by saying it's all them and nothing to do with FextraLife? Or should these guys get more of a blame than getting it just us be taken down, release it when we tell you to release it? And do the content creators and streamers and everything have a reason to be upset with the fact that they put up a video for 3 hours, took it down, and depending on how it got taken down, got a little bit of revenue out of it, or Path of Exile GGG could have hit them with a copyright tag and then stopped all monetary for that video anyway, so they might not even earn money off that video. So do people have an issue with it? Would you rather no issue, everyone allowed all this stuff come out early, this stuff come out early, and build guides on all the different sites, being able to give you in-depth knowledge early, similar to this, all the skill gems, all the everything, all that comes from data mining, as well as PoeDB1. PoeDB2 is not data mined, it is purely screenshots, releases, leaks of different things. Once it gets released, it will be data mined, and we'll all go to it. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you next time, and goodbye.